Hi guys, welcome to the Music B&B. My name is Callum and today we are talking about an artist known as Project Rod Williams. Project Rod Williams? Project Rod Williams is an electropop collaborative created by the songwriter and musician Rod Williams. The ensemble is a fresh fusion of 70s and 80s synth pop. The sound of the group showcases lots of harmonies, electronic textures, melodic song structures and catchy grooves, and is generally a good time. The project itself brings forth clever songwriting and technical expertise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through their musical journey, which started all the way back in 2019 up to the present date, starting with the album Fire. Now, the Project Fire was quite an interesting initial start to their sort of artistry, because the first half of the album, weirdly enough, starts with club mixes of their tracks that are from the album, and then the second half of the album is the actual songs from the album, which is quite an unusual way to introduce someone if someone's diving into a discography starting at the beginning. Quite an unusual way to start off with the club mixes of the original tracks. However, upon listening through, there's not too much vastly different between the club mixes and the original mixes. Having dedicated the past week or so to listening through their discography, I managed to find time to listen through the club mixes and the original mixes, and although the club mixes did sound more like they were in a club, there wasn't too much difference between them. So you're not missing out if you decide to go in head first and just listen to the club mixes. Now, there are some tracks of note that I want to point you towards if you do go and listen to this album, as this is the first, debut album on this project. I really liked Let's Go Out, which was a nice introduction to their sounds. And actually, even though it was club mixes to start with, it didn't vary too much as we went on into later projects that it was unnerving, I'd say. I think I got a good sense of what their sound was just from the first song. We then moved on to a song called Come On, which is a great pace and urgency alongside fluttering synths in the verse. Fire, which is the title track, has really nice Spanish backing female vocals, which I really enjoyed. I think I would have liked Fire to be a bit shoutier. The male vocalist trying to get those high notes just went a bit quiet, and I would have liked a little bit more gutturalness within the voice. They didn't have the energy and the impact that I thought was necessary for the track. Take Cover had great harmonies on the hook. Bad Boys Don't Cry had some kind of cheesy-ish lyrics to them, which I didn't really take to. And I Say was a really nice, happy and cheery track juxtaposed with the topic about someone leaving somebody else. All in all, I say the lyrical content that was written about on these tracks were very sort of generic pop love kind of songs with, I didn't really feel there was much in terms of personal touch, and it was just very generically written music. We then move on to the next album, which was Spin Me. Spin Me had a really nice opener called Shake It on the Dance Floor. Really good, really funky, really groovy. Then we moved on to another track I really enjoyed called Don't Stop Me Baby, which had a nice vocoder and female vocals by Alicia Leo, providing really, really nice force throughout the song. There was a little bit too much MIDI guitar going on, and this, being a guitarist, it was really obvious it was MIDI, and it just sounded a bit fake. And this, as I went on into other albums, became quite a problem for me, quite an issue, because I kept on hearing fake guitar sounds, and it would have been easily done to maybe hire somebody or pay somebody to perhaps play in the guitar parts just to make it have more of a sense of realism. I know it's electro pop, but it could still have that real guitar sound. Spin Me had funky guitar riffs, doesn't really get going though, it just kind of stayed within the same realm. Because had a really upbeat groove, nice use of harmonies. And the song Now was a really beautiful, lovely end to an album with strummed acoustic in the background. Really nice way to end it, and actually my favourite on the project. It's a shame it was the last song, but I can see why it was in that spot. Our next album was Runaway. Starts with Ways Out, a really nice choral hook and an actual nice sort of lyrical theme. Escape, get out. Keep looking for ways out. Escape, get out. Lift yourself off the ground. Then the title track, Runaway, had a very sort of unusual lyrical theme, but it was nice to get away from the simple love stuff. It was about people running away from being persecuted for their own sexual preferences. It was quite a wordy song to try and get in what the theme was about, but I can see why. I think I would have preferred it if it was a bit more metaphorical. You know, I can understand a metaphor and I don't need to be fed everything factual. Find Yourself had some nice lyrics and a really good sounding song. Sometimes the rhymes didn't quite work or make sense, and they felt as if they were a bit forced. So that was a bit of a put off on that track. You're Lying to Me had some awesome big band sounds with brass trumpets, really sort of big and energetic. I really, really like that track. And then we had So Over You, which was probably not one of my favorites. It was had generic love lyrics. For example, You Had Pleasure with Strangers, which is an interesting way to say something lyrically, and I don't think it works. We were the best thing. Used to think we were in love. I would give you everything you desire. It almost felt like a lot of the lyrics were being spoon-fed to the listener who, you know, it was very obvious, and it didn't give the listener maybe enough to think about because everything was kind of being given. Then we go to a single called Fantasy, which is actually part of a big single project which has about 10 to 12, well, it has a lot of tracks about fantasy, but they're all with different remixes. And you know what? I really enjoyed it. And I think when Project Rod Williams focuses their energy onto just one single and making that awesome, then I enjoyed it a lot more. So Fantasy was really nicely produced. It had a great groove. It had edges to it. It had spikes to it. It was really interesting. It had a nice chorus. It had some really cool sort of remixes with like dubstep elements in it. I've currently held off listening to their two most recent releases, and I thought I'd maybe do a bit of a live reaction to you guys now while I'm in the middle of making this discography review, just so you can get my general sort of feel for their two latest projects, because they've gone into more of a focused singles route, which is what a lot of bands seem to be doing at the moment, and I think that seems to be working. So let's give it a listen. Okay, so this was released in November of last year. Only a few months to it. Before the break of dawn, you know you're inside my mind. As the day goes on, I hope you realize that what bare feet on desert sand and high. Only in my dreams do you make love to me. Baby, it's there where you dare. Only in my dreams we make love passionately. When the alarm sounds, it just all disappears. Like this rising sea. Wait for the night to fall, 'cause only in my dreams is where I have it all. Yes, it's there where you care for me, like I care for you in cruel reality. Yes, sweet dreams only last so long, till a twisted wind comes and blows it up, all is gone. Oh, I wake up with tears in my eyes, 'cause I'm back to where you're no longer mine. Only in my... So only a few weeks ago. Pete Tim Condor.
Time goes by, I cry, waiting for a reply. Slowly go insane, can't get you out of my brain. Can't believe it's true. Once again, I'm acting like a fool. When I fell for you, not a day or night ever flew by without a like a fool. I keep playing blind like a fool. I'm so
Okay. So, where would I like to see Project Rodney Williams in the future? I'd like to see them using real instruments, writing songs that have a bit more metaphorical, using idioms, you know, perhaps being looked at by someone who is also a lyrical writer to help out with that. And I just want to see a bit more edge, a bit of something that's pushing the boat forward. We've heard 70s and 80s synth pop a lot. Obviously, it was in the past, and I've got nothing wrong with stuff that was in the past, but like the recent pop punk revival that's been going on, where, you know, pop punk artists, well, trap artists are taking pop punk and putting a spin on it. I feel that's what needs to happen. Something needs to be done that is pushing the 70s and 80s synth pop forward, that makes it sound like it's in 2024. So I'm looking for a bit of realism. Those beautiful harmonies still, and maybe some lyrical content that varies from talking about a generic you kind of person. Yeah? Fight me in the comments. Agree or disagree. Let me know. Give yourself, you know, have a proper dive in and listen. If you liked any of this, then please do go and give them a listen, support them, because they look like a lovely project and a lovely group, and they clearly work hard and are creating some really nice pieces of music. But I think we just need to tip it over the edge to make it something that's awesome music. And remember, guys, in a world where everyone wants to be heard and no one's doing the listening, be the one that does the listening. Goodbye, I guess.
Bye, ladies and gentlemen.